Hollywood hates you.
Nerd champs.
Rest of the nerd universe, while we're here live, did did you have any other takes from around the nerddom that you wanted to delve
But
into?
I think there's a couple of things. First of all, Agatha is kind of the latest in a line of projects that don't have to do with heroes. And I think that's kind of interesting. You know, we have had a lot of standalone villain films and TV shows and things like that lately. We've got the Penguin going on right now. Mm-hmm. We've got Venom coming out. We have Joker that just came out. Joker Folie, Deux, all right, which just came out. Yeah. And then we've got Craven coming out. This seems to be a trend that a lot of studios are trying to take part in, is try to have these standalone villain projects and kind of see if maybe people can embrace the villain from a different perspective. I just don't care for it. I'll say it. I mean, Agatha is one of those that I just personally don't care for, but I've not watched a single one of those. I have not watched either of the Venom movies that have come out yet.
No,
I did not watch the first Joker movie. I will not watch this Joker movie. And I feel like there's really no argument to be made that would make me want to go see this. I'm not going to go see Craven. I didn't go see Morbius. I didn't see Morbius. Yeah. No. I'm not going to go see Morbius. So this is all, I mean, you know, to me, this is just more of the same. That's my main issue, I think, with Agatha, is it's introducing something like that into the MCU, which I really didn't want. I mean, I think a lot of people would look at it and say Loki, and I would argue that's one of the problems with Loki, is this is a guy that, if you're following the timeline, he was literally just taken from when he tried to destroy New York City, and then he was taken right to the TVA. And now he's just, let's save the universe. Let's just do all this. And that's not, it doesn't make any sense. And so that kind of didn't work there. And Agatha, it doesn't work either. And I feel like Joker, my personal opinion on Joker has always kind of been that you can't have Joker without Batman. It just doesn't make sense. If he's not fighting Batman, I'm uninterested. I mean, you know, so that's just kind of the way that I always felt about it.
Yeah, 99% of the time when it comes to a villain standalone story, I'm also totally uninterested. The movies, for some reason, to me, are worse than the shows for some reason on TV, because, like, I've watched Loki, I've watched Agatha. I have no interest in seeing any of those movies. I just don't. I'm not going to watch The Penguin. And Joker has been all over the internet this week, and all you people on YouTube, the fans of the first Joker film, that don't understand why, and why would Todd Phillips do this, and what is his motivation? And I'm not the target for this movie.
Yeah,
you know, who was the target? You were the target, and by target I mean literal target. It was aimed at you.
You were the mark.
You were the mark.
You were the mark. Yeah.
Hollywood, by and large, huge numbers of it, Hollywood hates you. Especially like all the creators involved in something like the Joker and Joker 2. And by you, I mean fanboys. In 2008, Iron Man and The Dark Knight came out. Superheroes took over the box office and the multiplex, and we have not looked back. It's the only thing anyone is willing to buy a ticket for. Nobody's buying tickets to anything else. Rom-coms, chick flicks, gritty dramas, slapstick comedies, they're all going straight to streaming now. None of it. The only time you do get a dent is when you have somebody like Christopher Nolan, who made his stones taking superhero movies seriously and built a fan base out of the only people willing to buy movie tickets anymore, which is superhero fans. The people in Hollywood are film nerds. They're not superhero fans, and they're furious that they have to keep making superhero movies. They don't want to anymore. Todd Phillips was trying to insult you with the first Joker movie. He wanted to make a serious, gritty 70s Martin Scorsese style Taxi Driver, King of Comedy drama, but nobody will buy a ticket to that kind of movie anymore. So he made one with a guy called Joker in it. He thought that, and he's showing you in this movie what you didn't realize last time. He thinks all superhero fans are immature incels who live in their mother's basement. It would not even be able to fathom the complexities of the kind of story he was telling in that first Joker movie. He thought that you would hate it. He thought that you would be reviled by it. He thought that the film press would love it and that, comic nerds would be defeated. And when you embraced it and loved it, it infuriated him. He was so very mad that you took his movie that was supposed to destroy your dreams and lionized it and said it was great and made it make $1 billion.
Yeah, they gave the Oscar to Joaquin Phoenix. So they gave the Oscar to him,
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah. If you don't believe me about how mad he was, go watch Joker 2 for the first or second time.
Yeah.
He makes this version of the Joker. This version of the Joker, I haven't seen it. I'm going off what I've heard. But listen, I know when I'm being insulted. So I'm not giving him any money to go watch his movie. This version of the Joker is a stand-in for you. He gets disrespected, emasculated, and killed at the end because that's what he wants to do to you. He wants to kill you. Literally and figuratively. He wants you out of the movie business.
I don't think it's any mistake that these movies were written in the style of a Scorsese film. I don't think it's any mistake. And the reason is because we all know, what was it, 2 years ago that Scorsese came out and ripped apart the success of Marvel movies and says people just don't appreciate good cinema anymore. This is not good cinema. And then he goes and he makes Killers of the Flower Moon, which was the most boring movie I have ever seen in my entire life. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, I understand completely that Martin Scorsese wants every movie to be as serious and as like amazing as Goodfellas, but it's not ever going to be. And that movie that he just made was the perfect example of why you can't always just expect that kind of thing to happen in these movies. I sat here just waiting on the story to develop, and I'm like, so it's just a bunch of people that are just murdering Indians. Okay, this is not okay, but that's not what I thought it was. I thought it was going to be, some kind of twist and some kind of plot turn. Scorsese has completely fallen off. He thinks he has to do something from a weird angle that still involves a lot of blood and a lot of gore and a lot of things like that in order to get people to go see it. It was a really, really weird film. And I would just say, if that's the standard for good film as far as Scorsese is concerned, I don't really even care what he thinks. And I don't need to go see Joker 2, a Scorsese film. I can see a Scorsese film anytime I want to. I want to see the Joker. Yeah, exactly. I could watch Goodfellas. I could watch Casino. I could watch a lot of that stuff and just say, I can do mob films whenever I want to see a mob film. I don't need to see the Joker in a mob film. I don't need to see Penguin in a mob series. I don't need to see that stuff anymore. I can watch The Sopranos anytime I want. We talked about that already, Dan.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I am on this stuff. These standalone villain films, I do think you're right. I think, and once again, what they're trying to do is they're trying to mix the genres in that we don't need mixed in the superhero universe. I understand that there are a lot of superheroes that deal with the mob. I understand that completely. Okay. Batman in particular. But Batman deals with the mob, but the mob has always kind of been like a second tier story. All right. Batman deals with supervillains first. Okay. Right. And the Arkham crazies, that's who he deals with first. And then the mob just kind of is there. Okay.
Yeah. In between.
I don't need to see an exclusive mob show about Gotham City. That's ridiculous. Okay. They tried that. They tried that on, was it Fox that they tried to do the Gotham show? Yeah, and it didn't work. Why?
By the second season, everybody had superpowers.
That's right, because people were getting tired. People were getting tired of a Gotham mob show. Okay, that's kind of what's going to happen with Penguin 2. I'll guarantee it. Okay, I'll guarantee it. And this is the Joker. This whole thing with the Joker. I just, I'm still uninterested. You can't make me go see it. If there's no Batman, I'm not going to go see it. All right. You know, I always say this, there needs to be a subtitle at the bottom, Joker not fighting Batman, because that's what that is to me. This isn't the Joker. This is just some guy in a clown outfit that does terrible things.
He's intrinsically not the Joker now. I mean, he gets killed by the end of this movie. He's done nothing.
Yeah.
So, and really, they're letting you know that we tricked you. This was not about the Joker. It was just my little movie to cash in. And they all have their different motivations. Sony continues churning out villain movies as a cash grab. Those movies look like cash grabs. And it's a legal issue. They keep turning out more Spider-Man content to make sure that the rights don't default back to Disney at any point. They got to produce X number of projects within this timeline.
That's why they do all the animated films. Yep.
Yeah. And the animated films are good and they care about them, whereas these villain films look like, okay, this is a product to keep our rights intact.
That's it.
DC is handing the reins to Todd Phillips, who honestly hates us. That's it. He wants to hurt you. And people aren't going to, after Joker 2, people will probably come around and agree to it. I've been saying this since Joker 1, that this is supposed to be an insult, and that's why I don't want to go see it. People might believe me now on Joker 2. But when it comes to the Batman and the Penguin, trust me, the creatives behind that whole universe of Batman feel exactly the same way about you that Todd Phillips does. They don't like the Batman. They don't like that they're making a movie with a caped superhero. They wish they were making 7, and that's why the Batman, I haven't seen this movie either, going off what I've been told, but they gave you a Batman that is no more capable or competent than a pretty good cop.
Nope.
He's not the smartest guy in the room. The Riddler is the smartest guy in the movie. He doesn't solve the Riddler turns himself. It's basically 7.
Yeah.
In 7, John Doe, Kevin Spacey's character, outwits Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt. He wins in the end because he gets Brad Pitt to kill him, and that's what he wanted him to do in the 7. He wins. He outwits them. Does the Batman outwit the Riddler in the Batman, Tim? You went and saw it.
Well, basically what ends up happening is the Riddler gets caught, but then the Riddler has bombs set throughout the whole city, and Batman doesn't figure out in time. And the bombs that are set, they're set specifically to break the dam, and the city gets flooded. So there you go. So the Riddler wins, if you want to get it that way. But the one thing that is just that never made sense to me is that the Riddler never figured out that he was Bruce. The Riddler's target the whole time was Bruce, not Batman. And so because he abandoned the orphanage or whatever. And so that was kind of the thing that didn't make any sense, is that the Riddler would not have figured out that he was Bruce. Okay. Yeah. And Batman is sitting there and talking to the Riddler. And then the Riddler tells him, he tells him that Bruce Wayne was his main target. And at that point, Batman thinks he figured it out, and he's like, oh no. And then the Riddler keeps talking, and he's like, oh, he has no idea I'm Bruce Wayne. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, that was it. And you're just like, this is the stupidest movie I've ever seen. At that point, it was like 2.5 hours in, and I was just like, oh my goodness, just finish the movie already. You know what I mean? Like, it was like at that point. But
these people, go ahead.
I mean, basically, what you said is correct. They got to the point where things that normally would happen for Batman were not happening for Batman. Okay. Yeah. And him getting outsmarted and being one step behind and all that kind of stuff. It's just not really, unless he's dealing with someone that is intellectually his equal, which the Riddler never has been. Okay. Yeah. That's one of those things that just makes no sense. And so I kind of didn't like it because of that. That's one of the reasons I didn't like it. But a lot of that's when I go back to Agatha okay, which is where this conversation started, I feel like they're doing that to us through Agatha as well, Dan. And I think that's kind of the problem. They're kind of just sticking it to us. They're saying, "Oh, you like Marvel content? Well, here's your Marvel content," right? I feel like they're kind of doing the same thing. Kevin Feige is doing the same thing that Phillips is doing. He's basically saying, "Oh, you want some Marvel content? Huh? Okay."
It's in the intent, is the way I see it. I can see
Okay.
through the interviews, through the tone of the film, the people making the Batman, they'll say it in interviews. They had no affinity for Batman as a character or a mythos. They had to find their way into it. And they still don't. They want to make a cop drama. So they put Batman in it because they can't sell tickets to a cop drama. They want to make a mob show. So they put the Penguin in it because people won't watch it unless the Penguin's in it. And they're embarrassed of and resent the fact that they have to put this IP in there. I mean, you can kind of just sense it. They don't want it to be there. There's a difference in Kevin Feige has made a lot of mistakes, but he is one of us. He's a comic nerd and he does love these characters. He wants to explore other genres. And like you can get John Hughes film starring Spider-Man. You can get a spy thriller starring Captain America. And the thing is that they're not embarrassed that they're making a superhero movie. You know what I'm saying? They've made those movies. And
I think that used to be true. I think that used to be true. I think we're to the point with Kevin Feige where he is over the fan base. He is over the fan base wanting something specific, and he's going to just do what he wants to do. And if you don't like it, that's how we end up with projects like this. That's what I think.
Yeah, he's not happy with you wanting Iron Man number 27, Tim. But
I don't want Iron Man number 27. You keep saying that. I don't want Iron Man number 27. But there are characters. There are 7,000 characters in the Marvel universe. Okay. There are a lot of characters to be explored that have not been explored. And Agatha gets her own project. It makes no sense. It really makes no sense.
Specifically Iron Man. It's a very narrow tone that you want to have achieved.
You're nailing me on the head, Dan. You got me. And out of my superhero films, I expect superheroes. I really do. Okay. I know it's a tall order to expect superheroes out of a superhero franchise that puts out superhero content. I know that's a huge bar.
It's a full-fledged studio now. It's a full-fledged studio.
It doesn't matter. Full-fledged studio based on superhero content. It's Marvel Studios. Okay. This, if you want to do Hocus Pocus Studios and give me a Hocus Pocus show, fine. But this is Marvel Studios. And there are so many characters they haven't even looked at. And here I am now with Agatha. All right. I'm not happy about it. That's just all there is to it.
None of those characters are that great, Tim. I'm just sorry. They're just not. They're not. There aren't
you don't think the X-Men are great. I'm sorry.
The X-Men.
I'm sorry you don't like the X-Men.
Developed in the public consciousness. They are out there. They have been adapted. They've been adapted fairly well. The only thing new that Disney and Marvel Studios could do with the X-Men is roll them into a universe where they could interact with the Avengers, and all of the Avengers are gone.
They are gone.
So I do not want them to introduce the X-Men until they reboot. I really don't. Because the only thing I'm interested, because they're rebooting the X-Men. Because you've had the Fox X-Men just wrapped up.
Yeah.
And so they're rebooting the X-Men. I don't want them to reboot the X-Men into a dying MCU. That's just a waste of time and energy.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people aren't going to believe that the X-Men specifically and the Fantastic Four wouldn't be involved in Secret Wars. Okay. So I feel like Secret Wars has to be something. They have to introduce them before then. Okay. And it doesn't look like that's going to happen. I mean, Fantastic Four is. I know that Fantastic Four is coming before then, but X-Men is not. And so
I don't want the Fantastic Four in this continuity. I really don't, because Fantastic Four is being rebooted for a second time. We had the first version, the second version nobody saw, and then this will be the third cinematic version of the Fantastic Four. What's the point of rolling them out into this continuity to interact with almost no one?
The only thing I can figure is that they've got something big with Reed that has to do with discovering things for Secret Wars. That's the only thing that I can figure. I don't know, but we'll have to see. But anyway,
my big theory that they said they were going to do one movie a year. They're rolling out like 3 or 4 in the next few months. They're doing characters that are very tangential and tertiary. Fantastic Four is set in the 60s. There's no real reason why the Fantastic Four has to be set in the 60s. They're not tied to that time and place the same way Captain America is tied to World War II.
Yeah.
I think that I really hope, and I think that Fantastic Four is being made in such a way that it can be a reboot.
Well, I hope so.
Starting again.
I hope so. You and I have both said that we're pro reboot for a long time. I just happen to think that the direction that they're headed is to make Secret Wars the reboot. That's what I think they're going to do. And I think if that's the case, then that means that we're going to get a whole Fantastic Four film before the reboot. That's what I think. But
I feel like Secret Wars is in a whole new continuity, and that makes the RDJ casting make sense.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's what's going to happen, but I just don't know that it's going to be done in a way that I'm going to buy it. So anyway, that's just kind of where I'm at with it. But yeah, I mean, I think there's been a good discussion. I think a lot of these standalone villain films we don't really care for, and we know why. But as far as a lot of the continuity and Agatha, I think I'm still at it for a lot of those reasons. I think you're still into it for a lot of the other reasons. And that's kind of, don't look at this as a standalone villain project. You know what I mean? You look at this as something else. And I look at it as a standalone villain project similar to the other ones. That's the difference, I think. So there you go.
Yeah, because of the tone, I think, and the seasonality of it, it just kind of, and the fact that it's a TV show. The TV show thing helps me. That's why I was there for Loki. I don't think I would have went to the theater for a Loki movie.
No. Yeah. Nobody would have. So yeah. So,
all right. So, listen, if you are still out there, and it looks, hey, there's 4 people out there, Tim.
Hey, man, subscribe.
Yes.
All right.
Tell your friends. Wake up.
Hit the button. Smash that button. All right. Go wake up your neighbors. You do what you got to do. Let them know that we are here. They need to follow the Nerd Champs. It's going to be amazing.
Yep. Hit us in the comments. Tell us where we were wrong this week. We'll be hitting some abridged versions of this, or you can hit it in the comments. This will stay up. And just look forward to seeing you guys around. Until next time.
See you later.